everyone, and welcome to this LyricLand video with me, Mr. Linham, where today we're doing an episode of the Listening Project.
If you've got ears on your head and your brain in between, you're ready for a little bit of listening.
Listening. The Listening Project is a really important part of the LyricLand music curriculum because it encourages us to be active listeners. That means when we listen to a piece of music, we don't just have a boogie to it, but we listen to it and we try and understand it using the elements of music you can see behind me. So today I've selected one of my favourite jazz albums for us to listen to and discuss. It's an album by Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and it's all the way back in the 1950s. 1958, long old time ago that this was recorded. Now the album is called Moanin, and it's supposed to sound like the musicians are moaning through their instruments, but not necessarily in a sad way, but in a way that's exploring the sound of the blues and the sound of jazz music. Blues music is all about expressing yourself, as is jazz, but often blues music, not only are you expressing a bit of sadness, but you're also expressing a little bit of happiness as well. So before you go and listen to Moanin by Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, I've got 3 things that I want you to think about before we listen to it. Number 1, can you name all of the instruments that you can hear on this recording? They're all acoustic instruments, not electric, so they might be harder to spot. Secondly, this melody that we're going to hear, it has a special kind of name, and we call it this name when we describe the way that it works and the way that it sounds in structural terms. So thinking about the melody that you can hear, what is the structure of it? And finally, I want you to think about how the piece of music makes you feel. We've already talked about the fact that it's kind of bluesy jazz music or hard bop from the 1950s, as it would be called, but I want you to think about the way the piece of music makes you feel. You now need to pause this video and find the Spotify link below to listen to Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers playing Moanin way back in 1958. Hopefully now you've had a listen to Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers playing this Moanin track, and I hope you agree that it's a very cool piece of music. I'm not sure if you listened to the whole thing or if you just listened to the melody at the beginning, but let's start with our first question. Our first question was, can you name all of the instruments on the recording? Well, let's have a look at the back of the album cover, shall we? Well, we've got Lee Morgan on the trumpet. We've got Benny Golson on the tenor saxophone. We've got Bobby Timmons on the piano. We've got Jimmy Merritt on the bass, the double bass, and we've got Art Blakey on the drums. Art Blakey was a really important jazz musician because one of the things he did is he supported younger members of the jazz community by inviting them to be in his band. And he did this from the 1950s all the way through to when he died in the 1980s. He was always trying to get the youngest musicians to be involved in jazz music, which I think is a really, really good legacy to hold. Our second question was thinking about the structure of the melody. Now, this melody had a call and response structure. That was the answer I was looking for. If we take the tune, bum ba da 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 da, that's the call, and then the band reply with moanin, ba ba da 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 da, moanin, ba ba doo 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 da da, moanin, ba ba da 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 da, moanin. The band are replying with the moaning. So, our final question is, how did the piece of music make you feel? There's no right answer for this question, but it's really nice to think about, isn't it? I'm sure you can email me if you've got an amazing answer, or you can think about what I think, because when I listen to this, it does make me just chill out. It feels like a Saturday afternoon, this piece of music. It feels like you're putting your feet up after a nice lunch and you've got your jazz on. Lovely. Well, I really hope you enjoyed listening to Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and if you enjoyed that track, well, why not listen to the whole album? There's a whole great album full of music. I particularly like it if you listen to the opening of the trumpet solo. Having heard the saxophone solo, you can hear how the two soloists link together with a musical phrase that joins. That's something that you might spot on your second listen. Well done everybody, and I'm sure I'll see you again for another listening project. Bye!
If you've got ears on your head and your brain in between, you're ready for a little bit of listening.
Ning, 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 listening.